night before last, writing, look at these. I have like 3 notebooks with me, like 3 of these things. Okay, so here is where I want to go. I was asking to bring things into form. Mm-hmm. And I was asking for the next thing. And you and I were talking about this, where science meets spirituality, metaphysical, where it all comes together. It's not that I need proof, but I believe, and I've been getting this super, super, like in a really vivid way, that it is not as magical as we think. And I'm not trying to take the magic out of it. What I want to bring the metaphysical into this world. And it's not just born on blind faith. Yes. And it's not something that's so slippery and only the elite have it, and only, psychics and mediums, and although beautiful.
Yeah, we all got it.
Well, I believe that I started thinking that if we did CAT scans, if we did MRIs, we would find that there's something a little bit different about the way brains work. And so I was thinking about cats and dogs. And dogs here, I want to say humans here like up to 20,000 hertz, or 20, let's just say 20. And then dogs here 50, cats here 100. And so, and they have, the muscles in the cat's ears are, I think they have some astronomical, their ears are what...
The range of vibration that they can experience is greater than ours, and it makes them more... Oh, come here, Pat.
And that's proof. Yeah. I mean, and we can see that. And so okay, there's Pablo. So then he's a big boy. So then, so we have that piece of it. This. I bet that as technology catches up and we can measure these different things. We can look at the brain. We can see it light up. We can measure the hertz. Okay, so you have that piece, and then we have the piece where, way back, long time ago, they used to believe that chariots brought the moon across the sky every night. Well, then guess what? Science caught up to it, and we say, that's not really how that happens. So I believe that we fill in where we don't understand. We fill in with our own stories. And I think that our dimensions are right on top of each other, like all in one space. So, in asking... What's that?
The frequency base.
Yes. So I asked point blank, and this is where I was going with this, because this is the aha in the bathroom as I was doing my hair. So I'm listening. I found something last night. I'm zooming Miles to his practice, and I was having him look things up on the iPad, the almighty iPad, and we came across this video. And again, night before last, I sat down and I said, I want this. This is what I want. I want to bring things in here. I want proof, but I know we can't have proof. And I love the free group, and I love where science and everything meets, blah, blah, blah. So Miles finds this video, and it's on Gaia. And it talks about the magnetic, or the
magnetite,
in like these crystals in the brain, and how they're like these little antennae. And they believe that they allow us.
Our body is creating this. It's creating these. This is the missing link, honestly, to the law of attraction. This is magnetizing thought form, and thought into reality through the magnetization of the quantum field, of the field. So we're intertwined totally, and our thoughts have magnetic resonance that we are drawing to us and transmitting outward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the missing link for me. When you sent that, I was like, hello, thank you.
Ding a ding ding ding. Well, I took it a step further, and I looked up this fella, Dr. Michael Persinger, and he, oh man, he is this neuroscientist, and he studies from all these different angles what they have found, and this is where the quantum comes in, and this is where the quantum pops up and wants to play. Okay, so they're doing these studies where they'll take a person, and all of this is based on Schumann resonance, magnetic influence on the brain. And we are all steeped, get this, we are all part of the collective. We're all part of the Earth's magnetic field. So the EMF, this field, and okay, I think I might just have to read it because it is so mind-blowingly incredible. Okay, so
such cute glasses.
Oh, I know, aren't they? Goodness. Okay, we're all connected because we are all immersed in the Earth's electromagnetic field. This field has enough energy, get this, enough energy to store the experiences of every human who has ever lived. All the information of every human being who has ever lived is stored in this magnetic field. And so what he's saying, this field has enough energy. Okay, I apparently said it 3 different times. So, and now, and what he said is that so 7 billion people, we can link up, and that happens when the Hertz. So Schumann resonance, we talk about it all the time, and it's the electromagnetic field, and it spikes, and it can get up to 60.
The surface of the planet. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and what they have found, and they've done all of these studies, is that when it's actually lower, Schumann is at 7.0 and 7.6, 7.8. When it's lower, when it's 6 or lower, when this number is 6 or lower, the Hertz, people freak out. You get I always thought it was higher, that when it's higher people freak out. But anxiety, depression, they can correlate the effects on some people's brains. And I don't know if this has to do, because he keeps talking about right brain and how we dream in our right brain. And I know I'm right-brained, and it is. So I wonder if people that are right-brained are a little more sensitive to this. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I have to do more research. But he was saying, now this is the kick-ass part. So, okay, so we're 7 billion brains, and we're all in this basically this electromagnetic field that the Earth is in. So it's the who equals the sum equals the individual, and the individual equals the sum. And they believe there is a theory that this creates the holographic world we live in.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, that would make perfect sense. It would make perfect sense.
Well, they are doing these studies, and like, for example, one study, I'm asleep in one room, you're in the other room, and you're looking at all of these pictures, and then I'm dreaming about the pictures. And it's because
that's what remote viewing is predicated on.
What is it? Ingo, what is his name? Ingo.
And so the Center for Noetic Sciences, yes, I think that's what it's called. What is it? I can't.
There's a university in Canada that he worked at, and they studied Ingo Swann, Ingo
Swann was really, I think in the thing that you sent me, that he had a very high level of these magnetites, this magnetic resonance. And I think that we gain that as we open. And so I think that's something that you could probably increase. And it wouldn't surprise me either if it was somehow connected to the secretions of the pineal gland, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you said it. Well, and I remember hearing that, like, my sister-in-law accidentally kissed the Dalai Lama. And they all freaked out because you're not supposed to touch him. But they were all in the mountains. I believe it's
so cool. What a cool thing to do.
I know. And he just smiled.
He needs a kiss.
But Cuernavaca, apparently the magnetic pull in the mountains, that's why they see a lot of UFOs. That's why people, there are a lot of spas there. And so, it all kind of starts to fit together. So totally. I'm going to be talking about this, but I was so excited. So I was listening to him speak, and I'm like, yes, because he thinks the way I do. I mean, like, he would say, I would think it, and then he would say it. And he said, what about this, and what about that, and this holographic nature, and this, and it's not that he's saying that magic doesn't exist, paranormal. He's just saying paranormal does exist. We can increase it, and this is where this comes from, and we've actually studied it. And so it's not pie in the sky, a happenstance.
It brings it into a context that isn't airy-fairy.
Exactly. And so, and then I went
It is
online because I wanted him on the show. I mean, I just wanted him on the show. And I mean, he is the answer to my request from the night before. He died. He died in 2018. I'm like, oh, I mean, I was getting ready to hop on a plane to go see him. And
we'll just tell him to bring someone that can, because this work is happening in haste. It's growing. There is huge shift going on in terms of what is acceptable in the collective. I could go on, and I think the good news about this is if you are able to access, or if you consider that the world is a holographic universe, that means that using the descriptor of your smartphone and zooming in on the picture and zooming out on the picture is a really good demonstrator of how we can work with our consciousness to get really honed in on a small micro level, on a pixel, if you will, or to zoom out and get the broad perspective. And I think that's what people like me who work with consciousness help other people to start to access, because it's actually not hard. And I think something that people misunderstand is that if it's not hard, it's not meaningful.
not effective, right?
And that's hogwash and a half, like total hogwash. So let that sort of sink in. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't have to require suffering. On average, I see my clients 3 to 4 times, and they're ready.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then the training wheels are off. Well, and I think that it is another thing about this particular thing that really, really lights me up is that this man talks about transparency, and he talks about how when everything is in line and we're truly connected, you can't hide. And I think, and if I have to sum this up, if I have to sum this part of the show up, it is stuff's coming up to be cleared, things are coming up to be looked at, patterns are coming up that no longer serve you, family ideology that no longer serves you. I mean, we're being asked to step in and to step up, because I do believe transparency is coming. I mean, I think that
we have to consider why is it that people are becoming more psychic? It's just becoming doable more and more. And so what is the result of that? It's telepathy at the very least. So being able to communicate without actual language, which is a 3D methodology of communicating. So when you're dealing in the quantum realm, you're dealing with the higher realms, you're inserting communication into another person's brain. Therefore, there's nothing you can hide.
Right.
You could probably create some sort of energy that's like, this is private. As psychic people know that there are certain elements of, and when you get trained specifically, like there's a level of respect where you just don't pry into people's private lives. Like you don't spy on people when they're having sex, that kind of stuff. But people can also protect themselves energetically and just sort of like, this is sort of a no man, do not trespass. And it's more of a respect and integrity based than a rule orientation, which is where we're moving. We won't need rules. Like once we all transmute our dark shadows and come into a place of higher frequency, we're just going to want to have fun. Like that's going to actually be fun to do that stuff.
So I sat down one night with a bunch of baseball moms, and they were so funny because this one person's like, oh my gosh, tell me about this and tell me about that, and what do you read and what do you, and I was like, I don't. And she said, is my dad here? And I'd had a glass of wine, and it's like, no, I don't do this when I've had a glass of wine. And I don't know what she asked me to lead me to this. I said, it's like looking in your bedroom at night. It's so invasive. I said, you turn it off. Like you don't turn it on, I guess. And it is like turning it on. I was sitting at a funeral last week, and I was in the church, and it was so interesting because I could feel myself getting sadder and sad. I was really kind of bogging down. I thought, wait a minute, what am I doing? And it's almost like you can turn it on. And this room is packed, and this is beautiful, and he's right there, and this is, I mean, it's so sad for the family because they miss them, but it's like pulling out of the matrix and pulling into this place of, okay, you know what, let's look at this differently. Let's look at all of this differently. But anyway, you can turn these things on and turn them off, I think.
And it gets easier over time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Do your inner work to transmute, because the quote was, I don't know if it was Ingo Swann, but it was one of those SRI guys that or Russell Targ, one of those remote viewer guys, that says, and I paraphrase, that what stands out in the psychic field, so people who are able to be psychic out in this field you're talking about, you're like a bright beacon of light. The more you hide, the brighter you are, the more you stand out. So people think they're hidden, but in the psychic realm, you're like, look at me, you're bright, you light up. So
is that
the
right?
more hidden you are, the more bright you are in the psychic field. Yeah.
Why
so
is
the
that?
darker you are, the brighter. I think it's just the intention to be hidden, which makes it less hidden.
Like you're working harder.
Right.
Like
it's
more
sort
effort
of like,
into it.
with the law of attraction, you don't point at the things that you don't want, because you'll attract those to you.
Because you're focused on them.
You point at the things that you do want. So consider that. If you think you're really well hidden, think again. And I would say, reject that from your whole paradigm, because we're all worthy. We're born worthy. And even if we've done really horrible things, there's more. And I would say, too, work with a hypnotherapist or somebody who can help you explore previous versions of yourself in other lifetimes, so you can gain a broader view of who you've been, so that you don't just stay focused on this one lifetime.
See, we didn't even talk about that, about where you jump off. Sometimes that resonates and that echoes throughout your life, like how you cross. Well, and I think, and I absolutely agree with you. And it's never as bad. And another way to look at it is, how far away from the light can you get and then turn around and come back? You know, I mean, it's like, okay, well, we tried that and
we looked under,
we got all the way to the number 5 this time, and now we're going to head back and start doing some great things. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I feel like we just got started, so you'll have to come back soon, Miss Nora.
Yeah, and I need to have you on my show too. We could just keep. There's just so much to talk about now, and I appreciate you so much, and I love you.
I love you too.
I all of you, just keep on keeping on. We're sending you lots of love and light, all of you.
Absolutely. Check her out, NoraYolisYoung.com. There she is. All right,
That's
Mama.
me.
Take care. Bye.